and gentlemen, and welcome back to the World of Football podcast. Oh, well,
Easier, easier.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the World of Football podcast live Monday night. Hope you're all doing fantastically, beautifully well. Action-packed weekend of football has just happened. An action-packed week of football to come as Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League all start this week and top of the Premier League. There's also obviously an North London derby happening on the weekend. So we've got a lot to get through. We're going to basically just absolutely bash through this tonight because there's so much to cover. Obviously I've got Nathan with me. Obviously Nathan's is actually a happy man today, so if you came here for a Nathan rant, you're not getting any luck. In the bottom right, we've got Reese. Reese has had a bit of a terrible weekend with football when it comes to all of his teams. And then in the bottom left, we've got Gilio, but Gilio's only here for half an hour because he has to dash off to uni, unfortunately, which he kind of got done dirty by. So he's only here very quickly before he has to go. So in that said, we're actually going to start off with the Premier League. But because Gilio's only here for half an hour, there's only one place to start, and that is Old Trafford, where Brighton got a 3-1 result against Manchester United at Old Trafford, ending Manchester United's undefeated streak at Old Trafford under Erik ten Hag. Obviously, a bit of controversy over the VAR, but at the end of the day, Brighton did come away with a 3-1 result, and obviously some boos for Erik ten Hag over a particular substitution he made and particular decisions he was making. Julie, since you're only here for a limited amount of time, the floor is all yours. Obviously, Brighton are a very good side, but nobody probably expected for United to lose 3-1 at Old Trafford. What's your thoughts on the
game? First of all, good evening to you all. It was nice to be on, even though it was a short notice thing. Are any of us actually surprised about what happened? Let's be real here. Are we surprised because we haven't looked good at all this season? We've looked good in moments in like for example, you could say 20 minutes of one game or half an hour of another. Brighton are a good side. We all knew they were going to come and we knew what they were going to come and do. I said in the group chat that at the weekend that regardless of whether you want to say it's a system change or the players, no matter what's happening, it's not looking good right now. And I've said before in the last few weeks, I think it's just you take every single little problem, the Sancho issue, the Anthony issue, or the takeover issue, or players' fitness or travel, or you could say that through pre-season, the amount of games, the amount of traveling, and what happened last season could have a long-term effect. The fact of the matter is there's just so many issues at the moment, and it's looking very bad. It almost looks like at the moment with injuries as well, it looks like we can build a better team from our injured 11 as opposed to who's actually fit. I think when you look at, I've said this multiple times. Our transfer biz, none of us, I don't think, realistically were expecting to challenge City or Arsenal this season. The signings we got in were signings to replace gaping holes that left. Weghorst, Ronaldo left, Weghorst came in, then Sabitzer was on loan, he left, De Gea left on a free. If you look at Mount, Højlund and Onana as the main permanent transfers, obviously Amrabat I think is an obligation to buy. But when you look at it objectively, they're not like Onana, Kane and Frenkie de Jong, for example. If you compare that transfer that dream transfer window, which we didn't have money for, in comparison to what we got, realistically, none of them are going to come in and severely change. Like the Bruno Fernandes effect we got when he came in, we weren't realistically going to see that from any of these. And like I said, I wasn't expecting us to challenge, but to be honest, I didn't expect us to start this poorly. It's like all the players went off, had a holiday, and haven't got back to fitness. Now, I'm not saying that's happened, but it's just, I don't know what the word is, but it's not looking good at the moment. And I don't want to say Ten Hag's job is in a worrying position right now, but I've said it before that the results could be like this, even if the players are downing tools or they're not downing tools. If the results continue like this, if the Glazers are still around come Christmas, we could easily see a scenario where they decide, right, let's get rid of him. We need new manager bounce. We want that Champions League football, similar to when Jose left. They got rid of Jose, they brought Ollie in, and there was a whole uplift of the club. The dark cloud over Old Trafford in that final 6 months, metaphorically, was gone. So it's. I mean, if I probably won't be around for the Champions League predictions, but Josh has my predictions, and that will be what I'm talking about. United will be outlined in those predictions a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, it's just not looking good, and I don't know. I mean, Reece, do you want to come in on this anymore? Because I'm almost at loss with words. I just can't seem to find the words to describe what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, so poor attitude, ill discipline, lack of cohesion. Authority is challenged by players on high wages that they don't deserve. Go to Cardiff if you want a shit wage and have an attitude for, like, no offense, Nathan. But like it's ridiculous. Like, I think the best way to describe this is despair. I think despair is the best way to put it. It's genuinely laughable that I'm now memeing our football club, quoting our season is now going to rest in peace. Like, I'm literally at the point where I'm memeing our season because our season's done. Like, it's over. And that, I've never said our season's been over this fast into a season before. And we're 5 league games in, our season is over. Like, that's it. Any football fan that will say, but you've been in this situation before, so what's going to change? Nothing. And the worst thing about it as well is you'll have you'll have Man United fans as well that are on this toxic positivity train that'll get more gassed than a Mike Tyson fight after a bit of Vander Holyfield's ear off. They'll get so gassed about the potential to see a great man rise again and be like, oh, for Man United season, it's the equivalent. Oh, we've had a very poor start. But don't worry, 5th place gets you the Champions League next year. If that's your mentality, then fuck off. We ain't going to get... If we have to settle for 5th to get the Champions League, we're an embarrassment. Like, it's a disgrace. And the manager's got to start learning his lessons. I said it on last week's show. The manager's making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I said it as well. If this was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we would all be tearing his head off. Got to keep the same energy. Doesn't matter if you're doesn't matter if you're a caretaker. Doesn't matter if you're like / interim. Doesn't matter if you're a club legend who gets the job. Doesn't matter if you're an outsider who knows nothing about the club that gets the job, or it's somebody who's experienced in football, and you still make the same mistakes and you do not learn from them. I heard it because obviously I was watching it through Super Sports, because obviously I watch TV differently. I watch football differently. So I was watching through Super Sports, and 3 or 4 times I heard the same words. It does not matter how many changes Roberto De Zerbi makes to his team, nothing changes. You can take Evan Ferguson, Mitoma, Caicedo, Lamptey, Estupinan, Lewis Dunk. You could take them out of that team. What changes? Nothing. The style of play is the same. The percentage stats for possession do not change. The chances created do not change. The only difference, maybe the numbers of goals are different, from 3 or 4 goals to maybe 1 or 2. But the passing still remains the same. The pressing remains the same. The energy is consistent. Yet if we don't have a Rashford or Bruno Fernandes or Casemiro in our team, instantly our style of play changes. That can't happen. You should not be sacrificing your style of play for whoever is not available in your squad. Like, it's the same with Man City as well. When Man City don't have, like, Man City can field a team out of 11 random wannabes that are signing free agents, coached by Pep, and they'll be fucking world beaters within 2 weeks. And it'll be the same style of play. So why does our style of play have to be reliant on certain players when it should be an all-round style? That's how we want to play, so that's how we should be playing. Why do players compensate for ourselves? It's unacceptable. Look at Ange Postecoglou, like at Tottenham, whether it be Richarlison up front, whether it be Heung-min Son, it could be Son on the left wing, Kulusevski on the right, Pedro Porro at right back, Emerson Royale at right back. It could be two random morons at centre half, or it could be their best centre backs. Does their style of play change? No. Look at Liverpool. They've had dross for years under Jurgen Klopp at times in terms of their backups to their main players. Does their style of play change? No. They still play the same football. Do we? No. But that is a very question, that is an alarm-raising question. Why does our style of play change when we don't have certain players? No player should determine your style of play. The manager really needs to get that drilled into this team, because eventually it will get the best of him, and I would hate to hear the words rinse, repeat, manager. And we're in the same circumstance. I do not want to see another manager get sacked because of certain players that just do not fucking bother. It's time for these players to be fully accountable for everything, but the manager needs to start learning lessons, and he needs to start learning lessons now. Has to be now. Not next week, not tomorrow, now.
Words from Reese and Julio. Thank you very much, you two, for that. Dave, what do you have to say about it? Just hold on before you do.
Yeah, I think personally, both of you guys have got it absolutely spot on. But as we've seen, for me, it's just a repeat of the process that is happening at Manchester United. And I do seriously think it is the failure to control egos. And it has happened from manager to manager to manager. And at the end of the day, okay, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, terrible. Louis van Gaal, terrible at maintaining egos. Jose Mourinho, we all know Jose Mourinho.
He's the ultimate
ego.
ego.
He struggled. He is the ultimate ego, but even he struggled to keep a lid on it. And I just think as soon as you get rid of one, biggest example, signing Paul Pogba for 89 million, letting him go on a free transfer. What a waste of money that was. But
correct.
You get rid of one big ego out of the dressing room, then you bring another one in. Just look at Anthony, for example. I mean, how much of a disaster has that move brought in? Like, his head is so big, it's unbelievable. And the way that it's going is just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. For me, director of football, 100% needs to change. Everything, we all know, we don't even need to go into it, how everything with the Manchester United board, upstairs, footballing people, as you call them, how much that needs to change.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, this situation at Manchester United is not going to change until A, you fail to get into Europe, B, at the end of the season, you're actually able to have a solid clear out and go, okay, you don't want to be here, you're sat on a fat wage, you can go. You could even take the Cardiff City approach, or the Errol Bullitt approach, I should say. If a player's not playing well or costing you games or on too much money, just sack them. Mind, that's a bit radical, but at the end of the day, if you're a Cardiff City fan, nothing will surprise you. But as far as I'm concerned,
I have tweeted that before, that we should, like, some of these players just sack them. But I got branded far too harsh for that, and I was like, but then I went round and I spun. I was like, so what would happen if you didn't do your job?
Exactly.
Would they keep you on? Yeah, they give me a second chance. Yeah, what happens if you don't do anything for your second chance? I'll give my third chance. Nope. Bye.
I mean, at the end of the day, how many chances have these players had? Biggest prime example, I know that everyone hounds everyone out of it for the amount of criticism he gets. Harry Maguire, prime example. I mean,
some of these players, longest, like, you think, what, at work,
Luke Shaw's
3 months
our youngest.
probation.
Luke Shaw's
Players,
the longest ever player at the club.
if we're all at jobs, what's that? 3 months probation. This is the longest
Yeah.
probation process I've seen for certain players. Honestly, it's getting ridiculous now. I think the problem
getting a
is
joke.
one issue is obviously the upstairs running of the club. The way the Glazers and Woodward have almost approached transfer windows is almost a Galacticos approach. You know, and to be fair, if the Qataris were to take over, we could still see that, like at PSG, they bring in Zidane, we see Ronaldo come back, etc., etc., etc. Like a whole like new Real Madrid here. But
At
Ed
least it'd
Woodward's
be done
poor
well.
decisions. Would it though? Would it
I
though?
think
If the Glazers did that,
I
would it
think-
though? Because it's
I
just
think when you look at it, I think if you look at the Galacticos project works if you have competency above board. The first time the Galacticos project was done, they done it. It was actually going really well. They were doing it right. They had a solid foundation squad, and they were adding. So the first Galactico was Figo, rightfully so. Well, technically, the first Galacticos would have been Raul and Roberto Carlos, if you actually think about it. But they didn't brand them as Galacticos back then. They just branded them an amazing team that played brilliant football. The first Galactico was Luis Figo. What did they do? They win the league.
Yeah.
So they wait a year. What do? You sign the best midfielder to ever play the game. You sign Zinedine Zidane. What do? You win the Champions League in your centenary season when they actually knew when they were gunning for a treble. They were gunning for a treble. They made a big deal of it. La Liga, funnily enough, at the time, well, the Spanish Primavera, as it was called back then, and their FA, they made a massive deal that everything's going to be hosted at the Bernabeu this year. Apart from the Champions League final, which was in Hampden, but obviously scenes of Real Madrid's greatest win anyway, Champions League success. So we'll hold the anniversary at Hampden Park. They win the Champions League at Hampden Park for the 9th time. But the Copa del Rey final was held at the Bernabeu. Real Madrid's last game of the season was held at the Bernabeu. They lost both games, and they lost the league to Valencia. I'm sure it was Valencia that won the league, and they lost it wasn't Mallorca. I can't remember who it was, but they definitely lost the Copa del Rey final on home turf, and they got blasted for it. Real Madrid was slaughtered by their own fans, and fans were laughing and trolling the shit out of them because they failed to win the treble. Then you added in Ronaldo, rightfully so. You win the league, but you've still got a good solid base there. And then instantly they started getting rid of the players that really mattered. They got rid of Fernando Hierro. They got rid of Makalele. They compensated too much for style over substance when it should have been substance over style. The style will come with it. They don't do the Galacticos project from 2004. I think it was 2004, 2005. Perez leaves. Then you've got Roman Calderon who comes in. Calderon builds a solid team that wins back-to-back La Ligas. He then steps down. Perez gets back in the role. The Galacticos project restarts. But look at the summer they had that year. Schneider left. Van der Vaart left. Big players left.
mass exodus.
Yeah, but look who came in. Xabi Alonso, Kaká, Benzema, Ronaldo. So even though they were still doing the Galacticos project, they did what they didn't do the first time. They brought in a key fundamental, and that was Xabi Alonso. So they started adding players in, but it fit the squad, and it fit exactly what it is. So that's why the second time they've done it, it fit. You can do the Galacticos project if you actually build a team around it and you have people that understand it. Perez got it wrong the first time. The second time, he got it bang on, and they're still getting it bang on. So I think it's possible to do a Galacticos project. I'm not all for it, but if Man United were to go down that project-wise again anyway in a full capacity, if you do it under very rich owners with the right football intelligence and those director roles and who runs the club, it's going to work. That's why Chelsea were doing it really well. But then Chelsea just kept cutting and everything, and they failed. You get the right people involved. If you make these big, massive decisions, you've got something. You don't do it, you're going to fuck up. So that's what we got wrong, is we wanted the glamour, we wanted the gloss to build around a team, but we forgot the key part of building a team. You need your fundamentals. in certain positions. We just went out and glossed over big attacking signings, big money-making signings. But you can have the money maker, but you also need the bread maker. You need the bread with the money, which is hyphenated because both of them mean money. But the money maker needs the bread maker because the bread maker gives the money maker the chance to have the big stage that they excel on. We didn't have that in the Galacticos era. Apart from that Europa League, you never really had that moment where money meets prestige. Whereas Real Madrid have money meets prestige. Get what I'm getting at? That's what you need. You need that conjuncture. You need that together. If you don't have it, you're going nowhere. So if United did do it again under new ownership, full on went Galacticos, but still built a young, exciting team, it would work second time around.
Thank you very much for that, Reese. Julio, just about your comment, I don't know whether Cardiff review will be. It's after the Premier League stuff.
So probably when you're busy.
I need to. I would love to stay for the Cardiff bit, but I need to head off now, unfortunately. So can I just touch on it quickly with Nathan?
Go for it.
I don't know if you gentlemen recall, last week I may have made a bet on stream.
Yeah, you made a massive mistake.
Yes.
Yeah, well, no, I get it's a win-win. Either Cardiff win, which I'd rather that happen, so, or I get proved right. But unfortunately, I have to spend some money on a Cardiff shirt now as a result of Cardiff the weekend. Which shirt is that, Nathan? 18-19?
No, this one is Lockdown.
2021.
Last one I've got.
Nah, we'll be very specific for this one. We'll just get them on eBay and you'll buy a shirt with Wilfred Zaha on the back.
Even better. Mind, it has to be in blue. It can't be any of that red rubbish.
I will be. Listen, I will buy a Cardiff shirt, whether it be blue or gold.
Good.
I'm partial to goalkeeper shirts, you see, so I will uphold my end of the bargain on this one, and I will wear it on stream.
Funny.
Anyway,
absolute hero.
Have a good evening, gentlemen.
Enjoy.
Take care.
See you later, mate.
So going through the rest of the Premier League fixtures.
Just very quickly, I'd like to mention one thing, Josh, as well. I'm watching the Nottingham Forest against Burnley game, and I gotta say, Burnley are looking absolutely woeful. I mean, Forest has just been pretty much all in their half in this first half. I don't know why they're playing such a high line. Forest are just walking straight through it, and basically every time that Burnley get a bit of possession and try and bring it forward, they're just turning it over. Forest breaking incredible on the counter-attack, and I have a feeling if Forest break through and get a goal, which I think they will do very soon looking at it, this could be ugly.
And it is a good choice of pairing as well. Hudson-Odoi and Alanga.
Smart.
Yeah, there's pace in there. And to be fair, Callum Hudson-Odoi, I've never always been a massive fan of his, but I've always thought he had potential there. The problem is the injuries, but when he holds the ball up really well, he can hold the ball. And Alanga's just got direct pace.
Yeah.
You can hold the ball and direct pace. Yeah, you've had it. Especially with Awaniyi as well around there. Good squad player.
The other Premier League fixture statistics, obviously, we had Wolves beat Liverpool. So you had Liverpool beat Wolves 3-1 at Molineux in the early kickoff game on Saturday. First half, I actually thought Wolves better team, but Liverpool turned up in the second half and completely destroyed Wolves. Which seems to be the Wolves' reasons they actually start okay in the games and then just get completely played off the park as the game goes on. Aston Villa beat Crystal Palace 3-1. Obviously, hopefully Roy Hodgson gets better soon. He was unable to make the game due to a bit of an illness. Again, Aston Villa left this extremely late as you could possibly leave it to win this game, but it's a really big win for Aston Villa against a really good Crystal Palace side. Fulham only beaten Luton Town 1-0, but a win to win. Luton Town looked slightly...
I wouldn't say only on that one, however. I do think that Luton were in the game, the majority of it. They had their chances where it could, breaking down well on the counter. We've seen it before with Marco Silva, in particular, against teams he's expected to win against, holding possession on the ball. Luton trying to go extremely direct, and especially in an away fixture, which Craven Cottage, as much as it is a bit of a library, it is a tough place to win at, considering that Fulham always seem to turn up there as well. But Luton getting it forwards, getting the same amount of chances on target. I actually thought that they could turn it over at some point, really defending well. I just think they got unlucky in the end. But we can see where the quality is coming from that Luton side. And at the end of the day, it's just going to be a matter of time before they get some points on the board for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Reece, what about Spurs? Obviously, Spurs left it as late as you probably could leave it to win this game. But, one thing we would have seen from, teams in the past and with Spurs-wise is, fighting until the end, pushing until the end to get that winner. And I think, obviously, if you're a Sheffield United fan, you're absolutely heartbroken after how well you play. Hello, Rich, good to see you. After how long you have played, you go to White Hart Lane or whatever, or the Spurs, whatever the hell you want to call it. You do so well for 95 minutes. 12 minutes get added on. You're dead on your legs in Spurs. Get 2 moments. It was really poor defending though from Sheffield United. It was a corner for the first one, and then the second one Sheffield United give the ball away in such a terrible position. Kind of let Spurs counter attack with ease. But do you think Spurs are just starting? Spurs' start is a bit lucky, or do you generally think they are? A much improved team than what they have been the past couple of years with a better manager, with a better attacking ideas.
Well, they're definitely not lucky. That's not luck at all. That's a manager that's come in. These players have bought into his style. A good manager can make you buy in instantly if you're able to convince them this is how we're going to play. He's come in. He said we're going to play this system. We're going to play this style. And trust me, you are going to play football that best suits you. They have been, apart from Man City, they've been the best team to watch. They've been fantastic to watch in terms of the league. They're taking every single game the same approach. They're going to be a massive problem for teams in the league this year. They're going to be. And I just like how they come at you as well. And to be fair, I've got no sympathy for Sheffield United. When you continue to employ a player called Oliver McBurney, you deserve everything you get. So it was even better seeing that cunt getting sent off. But in terms of the whole circumstance, Tottenham are going to win that game anyway. That game was never going to be a draw. Sheffield United could not keep them out long enough. They were constantly giving the ball away. They could not maintain possession clear enough. And Tottenham were like, if that's how you're going to do it, then fine. We'll just wait. Tottenham knew they could just force any situation, tire them out. The minute they had them, that was it. Right at the very end, bang, goal. And it was even better to see McBurney get sent off. Absolutely hate that clown.
So Manchester City beat West Ham 3-1. I think the 3-1 scoreline was a bit favourable to West Ham because
it was a lucky result. I'll say that. Even my dad
it was a bit lucky, but at the same time, Haaland did miss 2 open goals, and Areola made 3 incredible saves.
It took Haaland 9 shots to score.
Well, West Ham obviously gives a really good count themselves, especially in the first half. But
the thing I will have to very quickly highlight with Manchester City as well is the fact that yes, they generate these chances, but they cannot hit a barn door. It's none of it goes on target. The shots that they make get in the easiest positions. It's just easy pickings for the keeper, but it's actually West Ham who go out there, get into these really decent areas and really develop these goals through. And I'd say that West Ham's chances were a little bit more clear-cut than Manchester City's at times. And this is where I think that they are being wasteful and really need to watch it because they're going to have teams around them, especially last year where we saw Arsenal sniffing down their necks because of these wasted chances. They have got to be careful of it because it could come back to haunt them.
Yep, I agree. It's that issue for them where they're really the conversion rate is appalling.
I'm sorry, but 15 shots on target and you're only scoring 3, 2 within 10 minutes. That is wasteful.
Yeah.
Arnold will score more goals than he misses this season. He just had an off game. He missed some really bad chances, but at the end of the day, as long as he got 3 points, I think that's all Pep Guardiola cares about, especially after from his back surgery. It was the first game he was back. Newcastle won. This was a 5:30 kickoff on Sky. I thought it was actually quite a null game considering. I thought this game was going to be quite open, attacking, free flow, but it wasn't. Well, obviously Newcastle, they're obviously going into the Champions League here for the first time in a long time here, which we'll get on to later on. They lost their last three up to this match. I was expecting a little bit more with Brentford. It seems like Thomas Frank went with a bit more of a cautious, game plan. He switched to 5 at the back. He looked like he went with a 5-4-1 rather than his 4-3-3 or his 3-5-2. So it looked like he went a bit more conservative. He wasn't too happy about it. He changed it 30 minutes into the game. Newcastle probably slightly lucky to win, Reece, but at the end of the day, considering the circumstances of what they have coming up and what has happened in recent weeks, you'd take that win all day long.
Yeah, you still take the win, but I reiterate to what I said last week about Newcastle. I'm not convinced by them. I'm not convinced by them. Last year, they're just like their fans, they got so gassed so quickly, hyped themselves up to be the best thing in the league when they're not. They've got some decent players, but Jesus Christ, they play some terrible football. Like, the football isn't particularly that good at times. It's just the fact that they've got the money to sign these players, but they haven't done anything.
Well, was it you who said Eddie Howe would be sacked this season? I'm pretty sure it was you who said it.
Yeah, I did. I said there is a chance that Eddie Howe could get sacked this season. And it's not because he's a bad manager. It's because if they do really bad in Europe, they'll take that and be like, well, that's our investment to get into the Champions League. And this is how we've handled it. Like, they can't get fifth place Champions League because they don't have the history for that.
European history. Yeah.
It's only Chelsea and Man United, I think, that can get Champions League finishing fifth. They need to get the top 4 to get the Champions League.
Well,
I look at them and I'm not overly convinced by them. Like, I'm just generally not convinced.
We will be going on to Newcastle in more detail when it comes on to the Champions League predictions later on. Newcastle have not turned up so far this season.
I agree.
Yep. Well, they've got a very difficult Champions League group, so obviously I look forward to see what everyone's predictions is. Obviously, I've got Julius and myself here on my phone. So yeah, very interested to see what that's going to be like. Nathan, what do you think about Brentford so far this season? Thomas Frank said that he took responsibility for that defeat against Newcastle because he was too cautious and too concerned, and he could have just let his team play the way he's been playing. Is that a bit refreshing to hear from a manager actually taking responsibility, since most managers will be the first to put their players under a bus and say,
yeah, nope. I think so, to be honest. And I think in particular with it, what's his name as well, Thomas Frank, I think he does need to go for it a bit more because you can see the quality, where this quality does come from at the Brentford side and how he has got them playing. I just think if he wants to push up that table, and it's going to be difficult this season, especially between the clubs that are finishing about 10th and 15th. And that's the bracket that I do think Brentford will finish. But unless he wants to sink down the table, especially again in matches like this, which you could say he could pick up points from, then he needs to go for it for me. And especially against some of the struggling top 6 sides as well, which we know and we have seen Brentford do before, get the points out of them. But I don't agree the way he's changed his philosophy, and he just needs to go for it every single game. Not go the full Vincent Kompany route where he just employs the same tactics all the time and gets absolutely turned over every week. But at the end of the day, I think he just needs to stick to what he's been doing before and don't change it up now. At the end of the day, if something works, stick to it. And that's what Brentford needs to do. And that is something they have not been doing.
Move on to the 2 Sunday fixtures. Chelsea, Bournemouth, 3-0 each. I'll just quickly say, honestly, I think this game should not have ended 0 each. But Bournemouth had some really good chances where Robert Sanchez made a couple of good saves. Vice versa, Chelsea got into some really good areas, and fair play to Neto. Neto is obviously a really good goalkeeper. I think it was a good signing for Bournemouth. He made some really good saves. It's really hard to judge Chelsea at the moment because we have 12 players out injured. Our whole Ben Chilwell and maybe Cole Palmer. The whole bench, was a bunch of under-21s who've never played in the Premier League before. Pochettino doesn't have very much to work with, so I don't want to be too critical of his team. And if anything, some of the youngsters like Giusto or Luckily in midfield, they were really, really good. Nick Jackson showed quality again, but his finishing, he really needs to work on his finishing. His finishing is a bit more. Everything else is okay though.
I do think another thing that you've got to add into that as well is that it is a transitional period for Chelsea. This isn't going to gel overnight. Just look at the squad they had between last season and this season. It's going to take time.
It's
You can't
alarming
seen
that you've
Pochettino
spent.
before.
It's alarming that you've spent 1 billion in 12 months and you generally look worse than Man United.
Yeah,
and we're horrible. Like, that says a lot, mate.
It's to do. It's as much as we even try by transition period. Half those players are injured. Caicedo, I'm trying to like Reece James, Caicedo, Latvia, Reece James. Who else is there? Balashield. The list goes on. Like there's that many people I can't even name. Let me see if I can get the list up here on my phone. Yeah, so Reece James, Njuku, Broja, Balashield, Chukwueze, Caicedo, Latvia, Chalaba, and Wesley Fofana are all out injured. Like as your first team defense out injured, that's 2 of your midfield options injured. That's 2 of your wingers. As 2 of your wingers injured, you're starting 10 injured. Like
at the end of the day, though, like the thing I do have to say, and with it being, especially with the way that Todd Bowley has spent as well, really putting his eggs into one basket with these ridiculously expensive players that if they get injured offer no depth value. Like at the end of the day, with the amount spent, if your full back line is going to be out injured, you have to have those good cover options, and it has to be battling. So, say for example, Todd Bowley, I imagine he's going to be wanting to fight for Champions League, right? So your bench should be mid-table quality, and for me with Chelsea, I just think the drop-off is absolutely insane. Like, why spend so much money when you're not going to have that depth there? Because at the end of the day, injuries can happen to any squad. Look 2 seasons ago before they capitulated. Leicester, with the amount of injuries they had, they were still able to maintain their position further up the table and still had quality to back it up. I do not see it with this Chelsea side. And say, for example, if more injuries come down the line, say, for example, Caicedo picks up an injury when he gets back injured, or another Nicholas Jackson, say, for example, if he gets injured, or Raheem Sterling, who's had a good start to the season, where do Chelsea go from there? I cannot see any sort of cover there at all. I mean, Cole Palmer, you could say he's a decent player at the Premier League level, but is he Chelsea ready? I don't think so. I think maybe an upper championship loan, maybe to an Ipswich or a Coventry would be a good start for him. I don't think he's Chelsea ready yet at all, but I don't understand the mentality with it, to be honest.
It will come more clear over the next few weeks and months when Chelsea become a bit more fitter. You know how the Chelsea team work. It's hard to judge them right now because it's not Pochettino's first team. It's not his first choice system. It was good to see him play forward to back, and I do think the forward to back made a big difference. And I think considering the end, he's going away to a Bournemouth side who are quite good. You have a fantastic manager. I think a point was quite good, and it could have went either way because both teams had their chances. And then going on to the last game, which was Everton Arsenal. Arsenal get 1-0 with Trossard scoring in the 69th minute. I watched this game just, basically before the NFL started, and to be honest, it was a really one-sided game where Arsenal just dominated the game, but they didn't really dominate the chances, if that makes any sense. Like, Everton held a good defensive shape, Arsenal couldn't really make the way through, and then the one time they did make it through, Trossard put a really, really good finish in. Everton, defensively, yes, they look okay, and that's what you expect under Sean Dyche. But see if attacking wise, they've got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing. Like they can't even. They can counter attack. They had no pace, had no direction, and I honestly think like if any Everton fans are blaming Sean Dyche for where Everton are, it's not his fault. He has nothing to. Yeah, he literally had a better attacking options with Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood up front in a 4-4-2 than he has of any of his options at Everton.
For me, I got to say as well, just to really jump in there, if you look at the way that Sean Dyche really set that team up, he was basically playing a back 9. I mean, McNeil, you could say, pushed up the pitch a little bit until he got taken off. Grenveld, I thought he was all right as well, but he was pushed out as a wing back. I don't understand the way he was playing. It was so defensive. Midfield, I'm sorry, but Idrissa Gana Gueye, Onana and Takore, that is 3 CDMs. How are you going to develop any attack and give better any service with that? It did not work at all. And with somehow the 8 chances they created, all of them bar one were wasteful. And even the shot on target was wasteful. And I thought moving it forward, they were absolutely atrocious. We've seen it like 26% possession, weren't holding the ball well, lumping it up and turning it over straight off, not doing it well at all on the counter attack. There was no pace at all there, and they sort of did park the bus and waited for the inevitable for Arsenal to score. And if Arsenal were playing like they have before and they were actually clinical, this could have been ugly.
Sean Dice, he didn't say this word for word, but he kind of hinted at it. He said that he's playing more defensive because he doesn't trust his attackers to score or create the chances if he played more open, and he just feels they can see too many. So he feels like he has to park the bus more to get any sort of chance of getting anything out of any game. Which, yeah, that's if that is the case, and I do feel for him because that's not quite that's not it's a difficult situation to be in. A manager kind of thing. Situation. Very happy to turn in Chelsea. Sorry. Thanks, Alex. So moving on to moving out of the Premier League, I've got 2 games to touch upon before we move on to our Champions League predictions. Starting off with the South Wales Derby. The South Wales Derby took place very late on Saturday night, where we're going to get removed here for a second. As you can see in the top right hand corner, in Nathan's formula for the first time in 10 years, Cardiff City won the derby against a currently winless Michael Duff Swansea City. I watched the game. You know, for all the possession that Swansea City had, Nathan, they did absolutely jack shit with it. It was like watching Russell Martin's team, but worse. You know, I thought Aaron Ramsey played really well, dictated the play. Cardiff counter-attacked well. Game plan was perfect.
Ooh.
And it was a really, really good goal.
Can I interject for 2 minutes, lads?
Go for it.
This is something that I think we may need to talk about and then come back to Cardiff. This has come direct from the Athletic. Everton received sizable loan from prospective owner 777. They own the likes of Standard Liège and etc. Payment worth tens of millions. I find that quite interesting for working capital plus stadium build. US firm to provide Everton multi-club model expertise and join board and observer role during approvals process.
They've already been declined once, you see, by the Premier League, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm just going to double check something because I might.
That doesn't sound good though. Like that's
actually
a loan. Like even though they want to take over Everton, that's not good, especially with the clubs they own. Like they've got a good variety of clubs. I'm pretty sure is it Sevilla or something?
Can I share a screen a sec? I just remembered something that this was under the bad days of Ridsdale and very nearly happened. But the Football League actually cottoned onto it, and this has been happening for years. Have a read.
I thought so. Consider the fact it's a multi-club, and multi-club only works if you actually are willing to back the whole network. So that's why Red Bull have done really well.
Absolutely, because they did a massive sponsorship, and it was 250,000 euros, I believe. Was that the first game? Absolutely mental.
Are you able to zoom in just
straight away? Yeah.
You able to zoom in just a little bit? Nice to see Chris Burke on the image.
What a player he was for City.
Yeah, quality play for Rangers too. Let's see, license hitch for car. Sure. I was gonna say I've read this before, long time ago, way long, like years back. Well, funnily enough, pardon the pun, it was years ago.
This was about how long ago now? 14 years ago.
Yeah, it's quite because they've had issues as well with Standard Liège where they're like, I think the fans are against them.
Yeah,
I think so. Like, if I was an Everton fan, I'm thinking, yeah, great. Like, we're getting rid of what we've currently got, but you get this, and you're like, if I was an Everton fan, I know this might sound horrible, but I would rather stay with Mashiri than get 777 in.
I agree.
Mashiri has to go though. Like, he has to go. But I'd rather have Mashiri than that lot because they're saying tens of millions as a loan to secure a takeover. That gives me horrible vibes, and it gives me.
I don't think it will happen because they've already been declined once by the Premier League. The fans are already against it, and I don't see any profit for everything how this happening other than getting rid of the guy who's currently in charge. But I don't think that's a good thing under these circumstances.
Fans have been against the takeover ownership before, and the Prem still allowed it, and to this day they're still in effect. So it doesn't really, as much as I want to say it's like Everton fans matter, it doesn't matter when it comes to a takeover. They will not care who they will sell to. An owner picks a seller for a reason, whether it be for the right reasons or just because they're greedy bastards. If you're an Everton fan, no offense, and I really do feel for you, your word will not matter. You can protest this all you want. If 777 get it, it doesn't matter. The Premier League will approve it. The Prem can't go against any random owner now when they've already let Saudis and Qataris and all that stuff in, and Russian conglomerates that stole money for the government. Like, there's so many issues now where you like the Premier League is so corrupt when it comes to the owners, you can't hide. And it all started from the likes of Roman Abramovich and the Glazers. There's no turning back now, or even the Venkies and all that. Like, you can't hide for that lot. So, Doug, you want to jump on and join us, bud?
Welcome in, mate.
Doug, you should come on and join us, bud. I'd love to get Doug's point of view on this, but honest to God, see, when it comes to treble 7, really
what a goal!
Is that Nottingham Forest?
No, Burnley.
We got them this weekend as well.
Absolutely fantastic. Parried outside the box, bang, left foot volley, beautiful.
Nice. But it's just that circumstance. It's a good goal for them. But it's just a circumstance, where it genuinely doesn't matter. Like, if fans really mattered, certain clubs would have better owners right now, or would still be safe financially, but they're not, because the Premier League or just a governing body in general, they don't give a shit what fans say. They claim to, but they don't.
Really don't.
Well, moving back on to Cardiff City. So obviously Cardiff City did beat Swansea City for the first time in 10 years. Honestly, I think it was a pitch perfect plan from Cardiff City against, I would say, Swansea do look absolutely awful. Like, Michael Duff generally looks like he's a clueless man. He looks like he doesn't have a clue what he's doing with that team. But Cardiff can't complain. Nathan, explain your emotional feelings, everything to do with that first derby win in 10 years.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is, of course, the first one in 10 years in front of fans, and that's the only thing I'll moan about. Is I think that's still completely unacceptable, the way that has fallen. And we all know the reasons why that has happened over the years, and we don't need to go into it, but
you weren't good.
Moving back onto the match, just the way we set up, the team lineup, the way that Errol Bullock got the players set up, really benefited us well to just absolutely destroy Swansea. And I think...
Sorry, I'm laughing at Julio's comment.
Julio, man.
Even though he spelt it wrong, it's still brilliant. Burnley scoring the mid-off.
Just phenomenal.
The mid-off.
But yeah, going back to where we were, just the setup was absolutely perfect. Going into it, like we were expected to win, there was no being pussies about it. We just went straight in. As Errol Bullock said in his press conference, we don't need to say anything. We need to get the 3 points. I met the fans in the pub. They are absolutely ready for it and made sure that I'm ready. Now it is my job for the players to be ready, and they are ready. And boy, were they ready. Set up absolutely perfect in a 4-2-3-1 with Aaron Ramsey at the center of it. Just absolutely dominated the stats off the park. Possession even, which means nothing, of course. 7 shots on target. Swansea didn't have a single shot on target until the 90th minute, which is just ridiculous how poor you can be. Broke down so easily on the counter-attack. The attacking lines were absolutely excellent. They're playing their free at the back did not just do anything to them. We just exploited them on the wing and then just absolutely played it through. Ollie Tanner, bearing in mind he was in non-league at the end of last season, just turned into prime Cristiano Ronaldo and absolutely turned it over and locking the Canton stand in that second half. And by the way, have you ever seen better home limbs like it? If you haven't seen my vlog, I would recommend going and watching it because it is the best vlog I've ever made, I've got to say. But oh my, were those limbs just ridiculous. There was no way that Swansea were going to win that night. it was like being at an Indian Park again with how good that atmosphere was. But we're going to really propel at the table, I think, now. This finally gives us confidence, and I think it gets rid of that mentality that we have had at the club for the last 5-6 years, that losing, defeatist, miserable, just fans on the top of the team for just doing everything against what the fans want. And I think this has united everything now. This has really got the momentum going, and we're going to force our way at the table. And I got to very quickly mention Swansea as well, which is just hilarious.
They look like they could be going down to League One at this rate. Like, they look absolutely abysmal.
They were dreadful.
This Michael Duck guy's got them playing into League One at the moment.
He does, and I don't even know what their mentality was employing him. I mean, he was bang average at Barnsley. Didn't even get him straight back up with the amount of money that they have. And I mean, some of his decisions in the game were just absolutely laughable. Why would you take off two of your best strikers in the team, Jerry Yates, Jamal Lowe? Why would they both be subbed off? Yet you bring on Josh Ginley, who's not even a striker, and Jamie Patterson. What are you expecting to do in that second half? I thought you were trying to win the game, not lose it by 10-0. It's just absolutely hilarious. But another thing I'd like to say, second tier podcast, Mr. Ryan Dilks, where are you at? Aaron Ramsey is completely washed. He's nowhere near Joe Allen level. I mean, Joe Allen didn't even start the game because he pussied out and was injured. Like, it's just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I think this really propels us into it now. I think we're going to turn him over again next year, touchwood. Don't want to jinx it, but they look absolutely awful. I wasn't even going to say that Duff was going to be the first man sacked until Neil Warnock decided he was going to resign today. But yeah, I want to hear your guys' take on it. You know,
Neil Warnock resigning was going to come because Huddersfield have really struggled this season, and Neil Warnock's not really the type of guy to hang around at his age.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't blame Warnock. That's the thing I've got to say is he was not backed in the transfer window, wasn't even allowed to sign free players, so off he goes. Right, it's time to watch his downfall from his old Cornish loch fishing.
I'm just glad he's suffering. I hate Neil Warnock. Just an absolute cunt of a man. Horrible man. That's all he is. I didn't watch the game, but I watched the highlights. But Cardiff were all right. I don't think Cardiff were great, but I think that's the difference. Is you played Swansea so well without being great, and I think that says a lot. But I think what's cool is Swansea really, as you say, but no shots on target until the 90th minute. Swansea didn't really know what they were doing the whole game. Like there was no. It's funny, like, a lot of people criticise certain managers for no patterns of play, but patterns of play has literally become a very important phrase lately, and there generally wasn't any. Like, there was nothing there from there was nothing there in general from them, and it does make you wonder just how far Swansea are going to go this year. I think that really is an alarm bell, but I'm intrigued. Not to say, but I don't think Cardiff are great, but the difference is they made not playing great look great, and the result speaks for itself. So fair play, Cardiff.
Absolutely. And another thing I'd just like to mention is everyone has seen it at the beginning of the video. Swansea fans booing the minute silence. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, you just see the reaction from the Canton stand. Shocking.
There's been plenty of that. There was plenty of booing this week for all sorts of stuff. National anthems, honouring the dead, booing for that during the Craig Brown minute silence, which pissed me off. I know a lot of people got pissed off during the national anthems getting booed at Hampden, which is, whether you like or not, it's horrible as football. But we know it. I agree on that comment with Michael Duff. National anthems get booed all the time. We know this. Doesn't matter what fan base it is, but booing during a minute's silence is disgusting. Like that fucks me off.
I mean, the one thing I will say is fair play to the referee for ending it.
Yeah,
because it got so ugly before the match.
Mm-hmm.
With they were booing it. We just got into our fans just completely erupted, and if you think, do you remember that Wrexham and Chester meme
Oh
that
yeah,
was out a few years ago?
brutal.
If anyone's seen my video, I'm not sure if you guys have yet. Imagine that times it by 1,000,000.
Or just go to a Rangers Celtic game.
No, this was on different. I mean, that match still isn't even a bubble trip. Come on, guys. No, I'm sorry, but the only
Just
bubble
'cause
trip
you- just
derby
'cause
left in the UK.
Just because you're in a good mood, behave.
Reese, I've waited years for this, man. I've waited years.
I know. Last one
And
on
then
Wednesday. I'll be.
moving on.
You'll get us on, mate.
Moving on to the last story I talk about for the Champions League fan prediction. It is the Milan derby where AC Milan were humiliated, and I think humiliation is a bit of an understatement. The Inter Milan when lost 5-1. Now, I just want to make a really random comment before I talk about this game. So for everyone who knows, obviously in the United Kingdom, if you're in the United Kingdom, you'll know this rule. If you're not, then if you might learn a new rule. We have this 3 p.m. embargo where any games between 5 p.m. 3 p.m. and 5:15 are not allowed to be shown on TV. So this
Which I
Inter
agree
Milan,
with, by the way, before I get anything out there, and I've got a lot of stick for saying that as well in the past.
this Inter Milan and AC Milan was on TV on TNT Sports or BT Sport or whatever they call it now. But we had to miss the first 15 minutes of this game because of the UK rule. So like the game literally, the coverage just started 15 minutes into the game, which I think is just really weird. Listen, if you agree or disagree with the rule, at least let us see the start of the bloody AC Milan game at 5:00. I really think that was just petty and stupid and kind of ruined. One of the best things about like derbies is seeing the teams come out and the atmosphere. So you didn't get the experience that because of it. I think that's just something. That's my wee thing. Anyway, in terms of obviously derby, which, 500 to Inter Milan. Where do you start?
I'm gonna say this, and this is that scoreline. When you get to it, but this isn't a joke. This is a legit fact, right? If you watch the highlights of this game, that scoreline when you get to 2-1 isn't a 5-1 performance, right? Because I'll give Inter Milan credit. They started very quickly, and that Çalhanoğlu goal. The Mkhitaryan goal from Çalhanoğlu's play was fantastic. But when you actually look at the whole performance as a whole, when Milan got the goal back from 2-0 to 2-1, thanks to Rafael Leao, they were completely the better side. Like Inter Milan started off the first 30 minutes, Inter Milan were the better team. I'm not going to argue that, right? Milan had a dominant spell for about 25, 30 minutes, and it really did kick on, and they got the goal back. No.
He has just
Gone already.
the podcast.
Fucking sacrilege. Inter Milan, fuck that. But yeah, where was I? So Milan had that dominance for about 25, 30 minutes. Chances were great, clear-cut chances. The problem is they just didn't take them. The downfall of the rain, by the way, I'm surprised the game still played. Like, the fact they kept going when it was an absolute torrential downpour says a lot. But performance-wise, significance of it as well, the clinicalness in their midfield really was effective for Inter Milan. The chances like right towards the end, was crazy enough. Like they made some good changes that definitely helped. Milan also made changes as well. The crazy thing is though, it was after Milan made the 3 changes to improve the attacking sense. They took off right-handers, and I think that really hurt the midfield. It took away that control in midfield because at that point, Inter Milan were not really dominating right-handers in midfield. Yet you keep on Krunic. How does that piece of shit get to stay on? Is it because he's a scary Bosnian? Like, how does he get to stay on? I mean, he's absolute crap. You took off that key midfielder and you don't bring on Musa. Genuinely horrible. Like, it genuinely was poor performance. And I said it in January. I hope to fuck Pioli gets sacked. Like, I still stand by it. I don't care how much money he spent in the summer. I hope he gets to fucking sack. Like I'm saying, like, first half. Like, that's all I'm saying, Mason. I'm being completely honest. At 2-1, that game does not end 5-1. I don't know what the fuck changed in the mentality, but all you saw is chance after chance Inter had after Milan's dominant spell. Every time they had the ball, it looked like it was going in. And like, Milan were just wasting it. Pioli apparently had talks with the management over the after the game, on Sunday and Monday. How he's still on a job, I don't know, but he is on thin ice, and it will not surprise me if the first manager they will look to is De Zerbi. It's not even a joke. Like, De Zerbi will be the first man they look to. If they go for Conte, I will forfeit my right as a football fan. Like, I'll be absolutely disgusted. Nah, I won't. I love football too much. But the significance of the fact is, like, so much money was invested. The squad actually looks better. They started the season really well. Inter Milan, just as much. But you can see just a little bit of difference of they are pulling up strings. And I'll say this as well, and this is another fact, this is a genuine fact. Jan Sommer has immediately replaced Andre Onana in that Inter Milan squad. Instantly replaced them. It took them 5 games to concede a league goal. And it was absolute pace from open play. 5 league games, 1 goal conceded. I wanted Milan to win the league, but it looks like it's good. I think Inter Milan are probably the favourites now to win it. But genuinely, the fact that it's still top 3 of Milan, Inter, Juventus, or Milan, Juventus, Inter, that's your top 3 at the moment. Other teams are so massively underperforming, but to be fair, like, I have to give Inter Milan props. Like, once taking off Barella for Fratesi was very clever. Like, very, very clever midfield side. I wanted Fratesi at Milan. I wanted Ravella at Milan, but they didn't go for him. But you can see instantly why, because they've been fantastic for Napoli and they've been brilliant for Inter Milan when they've played. Sorry, Lazio and Inter. Sorry, like, they really are fantastic box-to-box players. There is something there. Tomori's suspended and he's not going anywhere. Behave. You'll come back into the team and you'll play with Malik Tiot centre back, and then you'll have a really good centre half pair. Like, you behave, dear. You behave, sweetheart. Behave yourself.
That's when I see Milan. That will lead us into our Champions League predictions. So what we're doing here, folks, is very, very simple. Hallie, I'll give you to answer your question unless you a second.
Milan, I'm literally about to answer in the live chat with the most easiest comment. It's right there now.
Came up for you. Milan offer big money. Yeah,
easy. Milan can just offer them money in Champions League football.
Right, so here is what we're going to do. We're going to go through all the Champions League group stages because obviously, the Champions League group stages are one of the big things. So we're going to be going through all that, giving our predictions 1 to 4. Julio was unable to join us for the full show, so he sent me his predictions, and also we actually.
I can't wait for one group in general. Wait.
So I'll be reading out Julio's, and then what we're going to also be doing is we're going to be going through a couple of Europa League groups, not all of them, but we'll just be mainly going through like the West Ham one, Brighton's one, Rangers one, Liverpool's one. Feels weird saying Liverpool Europa League, and stuff like that. And then we'll go through the Conference League for Aston Villa. Well, again, we'll all go through all the Conference League ones because half the teams probably I don't even know who half the teams are, to be honest. Also just a special shout out that also credit to Jose Mourinho for winning 7-0 at the weekend as well in Serie A. Jose Mourinho certainly hasn't lost his touch in some games because fuck me, Roma were good at the weekend.
That's their performance of right. Okay, we've fucked about, we've wasted time. Now let's get on with it. It's about time Mourinho's Roma choice turned up.
So here we go, starting off with Starting off with group number A. So group number A is the Manchester United group, contesting off Copenhagen, Galatasaray, Manchester United, and Bayern Munich. Here we go. Let's start off with you, Nathan. Who's going through? Please name your group from number 1 to number 4. Obviously,
be brutally honest, mate, because I'm going to be brutally honest.
To be honest, I'm weighing up my options, and I've been thinking about this a lot all day, in particular with Group A. Like, I think this is one of the hardest.
Hold on, Nathan. Ali, Neezy, we're not doing score lines. We're doing the actual group predictions.
To be fair, my score prediction's worse than that. I think we'll concede 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think United being turned over.
And also Harry Kane with Jamal Musiala, Thomas Muller, Leroy Sané, Goretzka are going to absolutely shag us. We are going to get absolutely battered by Bayern. I don't want to see it, but we're going to get Bayern. We're going to get Bayern.
And obviously, this is just a reminder that obviously third place in the Champions League group stage gets you into the Europa League. So Nathan, please tell me your Group A predictions.
So I think it goes without saying that Bayern are finishing in top with this one. Second position, I'm going to go bold, but I do think that the quality, in particular of Galatasaray and Fenerbahce in the Turkish league, has been extremely good as well. Other names you've got to put out there, I got to say Besiktas being extremely poor. Trabzonspor going back up there as well, just naming some of the former Erol Bullet clubs as well. Istanbul Başakşehir being absolutely terrible, but Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, impressive, I've got to say.
The only blessing is Galatasaray don't have Zaniolo. He's a West Ham on loan?
No, he's at Aston Villa.
Villa, sorry. I knew he was one of them.
Which is very, very massive loss. I'd say for them as well. So I'm going to go Galatasaray in second. Now, this is where I was in an hour in. I think Copenhagen, they've done extremely well to get into the Champions League, and I do think they are going to ruffle a few feathers and get at least a point in this group. However, I am going to play it safe and put Man United in the Europa League and Copenhagen to finish 4th.
No joke. If Man United get the Europa League, I think Ten Hag gets sacked.
Really?
Yeah. What's your one?
I've got the same. I've got, to be fair, I'll be consistent because I've had my predictions for a while, but I feel like I'm actually when I seen the group and I was like, I still have the poor memories of Istanbul, and the stupidity amongst Man United fans that are taking Galatasaray lightly. And we should have the quality to beat Galatasaray. But Man United have got an awful record of playing in Turkey. Awful record. I'm not overly confident, but I still think we will get through in second. But I'm going to say this. We will not get close to, I don't think we'll get close to double-digit points. I think we get through with 8 points, 2 wins, 2 draws, and we lose both games to Bayern. We might lose 3 games, so we could get through with 7. But I hope he doesn't get the sack. But you know what this club's like. I think Bayern are going to absolutely walk this group anyway. So
yeah,
I'm good. So Bayern top of the group, United second, Galatasaray third, Copenhagen 4th, but Copenhagen and Galatasaray will take points off us in the away games and draws. I think we'll draw both times when we go away.
My prediction is Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Galatasaray, and Copenhagen. I think Man United will Man United will get fitter as the season goes on, and I feel like your Old Trafford record will get them because
we have two fully fit fullbacks, mate. Dalot and Reguilon are our fullbacks, and they've got to play every single week.
Julio's prediction. So again, I have to say this is Julio's prediction, not mine. So I'm going to read out what his prediction was and what the reasoning is behind it. His prediction was Manchester United Bayern Munich in first, Galatasaray in second, Manchester United third, and Copenhagen 4th. And he said, if shit doesn't start to change, we'll crash out in third due to poor draws. We've seen it before with the 2020 group stage when we were 2 games to go and the qualification relegation, and the 2015 when we were boring and didn't win enough. Close points between second and third. So that was Julie's prediction for Group Number A. Moving on to Group Number B, which is Arsenal, Sevilla, RC Lens, and PSV. So Arsenal's first time in the Champions League. Pardon me, in a very, very long time. What do we think? Nathan,
This
start with
is
you.
a tough group. This is like
This is the easiest group I've had to predict. Not
I
even joking.
think this is up there one of the hardest actually.
I think it's quite easy once you see which team's in this group, and then you're like, well, there you go, sorted.
Actually, saying that, you've done that right there. So, top in the group, I'm going to go Sevilla. I think, even though they are being actually, why on earth have I just said that? I've had an absolute clanger. Right,
Yeah,
ignore everything I've just said.
You've
Arsenal,
heard this, people.
winning the group. I just think with the way that Sevilla are at the moment, PSV, Eindhoven, as much as I do like the quality in their side, I just don't think it hits to the heights that Arsenal currently have, and the motivation with not being in the Champions League will carry them through there. Second position, I'm going to go for PSV Eindhoven. Got some good players in there. I think they are in a much better position than Sevilla is in at the moment, which are just completely shocking. Then it's third and fourth, which is an and ah between which is an and ah between a woeful Sevilla and an RC Lens, who had a great season in I can't even say it in Liga last season. However, they have dropped like a stone. It's their first. Yeah, they were excellent last season, but it's their first Champions League in 20 years, and they are really struggling domestically as well. Not sure if they go in the Newcastle route and putting all their eggs into one basket, but I'm going to say they're going to go into the Europa League and Sevilla finishing bottom.
Okay.
Well, I don't have,
think?
my predictions are already, funnily enough, in the live chat. I've got the exact same. I've got the same predictions. No, I've got the same prediction as Doug and Maisie. The exact same order: Arsenal, PSV, Sevilla, Len. But I think Len will be a very exciting game. I agree on the away games comment. They've got a fantastic home fan base for home games. I think that'll be fun. But their away games, they're going to make the Emirates their absolute bitch. When you think about what Frankfurt did to Barcelona when they went en route to win the Europa League, Lens will do that to the Emirates. It's going to be so fucking good.
In terms of my predictions, I do have PSV and Arsenal going for about PSV first and Arsenal second. I just think Arsenal will start slow in the Champions League because they've not been in it for so long. It'll take a while for the adapt. I think that there'll be a slight, very small points difference between PSV and Arsenal, which will have PSV top. In terms of the predictions from Julio is Arsenal, PSV, Sevilla, and Lens, and then he says, I really hope this prediction is wrong, because if Sevilla drop into the Europa League, and I have United going to the Europa League, then the bastards Sevilla are going to win the Europa League.
He's got a point.
It's not wrong. Like, I mean, look at Maisie. Maisie said the exact same thing. Sevilla wants to be knocked in the Europa League to win it. Exactly. That's all they do. Like, they are that.
Yeah, and he said, I pray this prediction is wrong for Sevilla and Ferrer, because they'll win the bastard Europa League. So there you go. That's from Julio.
Yeah.
Moving on to Group C, Real Madrid, Braga, Napoli, and Union Berlin. I'm going to start off with Julio's prediction, because he hasn't given the reason for it. So I don't know if he's just yelled at or what, or if he's done this to annoy Reese or something. I don't know. His prediction is Real Madrid first, Union Berlin second, Napoli third, and Braga fourth. Reese, what's your prediction?
I can see why he's done that, because Real Madrid and Braga, I agree, they are top and bottom. Braga, nothing against Braga. Braga are a decent European side, but when you look at what's in the group, I don't think they've got the quality overall to go and do it, apart from Ricardo Horta. I think he's a fantastic player, but there's not enough really to take it. Napoli and Union Berlin, on the other hand, are totally different. Squad-wise, they've got unbelievable quality players in there. Their style of play is fantastic. I like the dynamic play that Union Berlin have, where they completely shocked the league last year in the Bundesliga. They completely shocked it. As for Napoli just played wonderful football in Serie A last year. It was enjoyable to watch. I really enjoyed watching Napoli play, even though they won the league. Bastards. If Milan don't win it, I'll happily have Napoli win it because it's lesser of all evils. Naturally. They might. They're decent. I don't know. But I've gone for Real Madrid, Napoli, Berlin, Braga, and I think Real Madrid are going to be the only. I think Real Madrid are the only team this year that are going to get 18 from 18.
To be fair, considering the midfield that they have, I'm really
It's Chiellini. Chiellini, yeah.
Bonucci still at Juventus. Right, Nathan, your predictions?
So goes without saying, I'm going to put Real Madrid top. I just think the way they started La Liga this season has been absolutely spectacular. Bellingham, obviously, got to put a mention in there.
Best English player in the world right now.
Well, we've already said it before. He's only 20, and the way he's bossing the midfield, he's playing like he's 30. It's mad.
He's the best English player in the world right now. A lot of people are going to say Harry Kane, but I'm not. I'm thinking it's Bellingham. Yeah, they did. That's right. They did sign Moutinho.
Very good in that aspect. So second, gotta go Napoli. I just think that when you compare it with the Union Berlin and also Braga's squads, you've got to slide Napoli in there. Current Serie A champions, I think they're going to get through quite comfortably. In third position, I'm going to go Union Berlin. I do agree that they are going to push through it. Very obviously, first time in ages in the Champions League. Good squad. They're going to be well up for it, and I think they'll sneak into the Europa League. And then in fourth place, I've got a reason for it. I'm going to put Braga bottom with 0 points. I do think that I know it was only pre-season, but when Cardiff City did play them out in Portugal, I was not impressed by the way that they were playing at all, and we actually did a number on them. So in that case, with the depth with the other teams that were in the group, I got to say Braga finishing bottom on 0.
I think they'll. Okay. I think they've got some quality in there. It'll just be interesting to see what they do.
How it sets up. Yeah.
I think 0. There's only one club I want to give 0 points to. Actually, no, there's 2, and I'll be coming to them very soon. But I think Braga will get a fair share. I think maybe like 4. I think Braga will get like maybe 4 or 5 points. This will be a close group from those positions down. But I just think Union Berlin will just finish above them. Like, just what they done last year in Germany really was extremely impressive. It caught a lot of people off guard. And Napoli have got a decent side, but Real Madrid are just going to walk this group. Bellingham is just going to tear the whole group apart on his own.
I agree.
Forget Vinny Jr., forget Rodrigo, forget all the other available. It's just Bellingham on his own now. It's crazy. And their midfield 4 is fantastic. They're actually playing a diamond beautifully. It's crazy. Yeah, they play such a high altitude. It's crazy.
Just answer Doug's question. Yeah, that's Braga's ground.
Yeah.
Literally in the middle. Literally in the middle
It's
of
a nice
nowhere.
ground.
All my
It
looks beautiful.
This is, you know what? Right now, this is the thing. This is exactly what Man United need to do. This is exactly what happens to Man United right now because of how bad we are. We need to be played in the middle of nowhere because we are going absolutely nowhere. We may as well play in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, so
I
moving
do
on
agree.
to
I want to go that ground as well. To be fair, I like that sort of altitude football. It's always fun to play altitude.
moving on to group number D, which consists of Inter Milan, Benfica, Salzburg, and Real Sociedad. Julio's predictions is as follows: Inter Milan first, Real Sociedad second, Benfica third, and Salzburg fourth. He said, honestly, either Inter or Benfica are crashing it off the group. I got a weird feeling it could be either, but given how good Inter are looking at the moment, they're favourites to go through over Benfica.
Guarantee Maisie says Benfica fourth. Just waiting for it.
Nathan, what's your prediction?
So it goes without saying, I've got to go into top, especially with the way that they absolutely dispatched Reese's beloved AC Milan over the weekend. In second, goes without saying, going to put Real Sociedad there. Very good squad. Oyarzabal, Takafeshi Kubo, Lenormand,
He's so
Tierney.
good.
Very, very good squad, considering the group. And also, one of the best squads in the Champions League, I got to mention as well. I think they're actually going to go far this season, and I think a lot of people are already writing them off. In third position, going to go for Benfica. I think they have that edge over Red Bull Salzburg, who are going to crash out.
Reece, what's your prediction?
I'm just laughing. Maze has made me instantly laugh, changing my predictions. My predictions are I've got Inter. I think Salzburg will finish last. I think Salzburg in recent years have been good, but losing the likes of Šeško and Okafor it has taken, and they've lost Sevald as well. That's big attacking threat for them, which isn't good. I don't know how they're going to handle that. Even though their style generally always remains the same, the quality is dipped. I don't know if they can sustain it. It's quite worrying. I like the Real Sociedad squad. It's well balanced. I like Kubo, even though the bastard ruined what I'm wearing. Because he is an absolute quality player. Moreno is a brilliant goalkeeper, brilliant midfielder as well, funnily enough. Zubeldia is a player that I absolutely adore. Zubeldia is a great centre-back. Lenormand is a fantastic centre-back. They've got depth. They've got fantastic depth. And they've got a very good stadium as well, which will help with the fans. The fans will definitely get on side. But I think when you look at in the past couple of years, Benfica have just generally got back into Europe so much better compared to what it was like 5, 6, 7 years ago. They were just wasting it in Europe. They've done really well past couple of years to make the quarterfinals back to back with the squads, but they're still selling a high product, but they're making smart signings. I'm just going to tip Benfica, but I literally mean just. So I've got Inter, Benfica, Sociedad, Salzburg.
Okay. Moving on to group number E, Lazio, Feyenoord, Atletico, and Celtic. Julio's predictions for this group are Lazio, Atletico, Feyenoord, and Celtic. And then all he had to say about this group was, and then the only thing he had, hold on,
What?
the only thing he
That's
commented on
absurd.
this, the only thing he commented on this group was the only reason why I have Celtic bottom is because of one thing, Brendan Rodgers. But his predictions
he's got a fair point, but Celtic aren't finishing bottom of that group.
Yeah, they are.
No.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are.
No
Right,
chance.
yes,
I mean, there is a bit
yes,
bias
they are.
in there, but
That's not bias.
I think
It's not
it's
bias. It's not
his
bias.
predictions are Lazio first, Atletico Madrid second, Feyenoord third, Celtic fourth. And he said if this was Angay Celtic, they wouldn't be bottom. Otherwise, they are with Brendan Rodgers. So yes, that's
They
his group. Reece, what's your prediction?
Atletico, Feyenoord, Lazio, Celtic.
You don't think
Lazio-
Lazio's finishing? He's got
Have you
Lazio top.
Lazio have had an absolute shit start to the season.
Yeah.
Maurizio Sarri is not doing anything for them.
Celtic first. Okay.
She's doing this. She's doing this to troll me. I don't blame her. Atletico Madrid, yeah, they lost to Valencia 3-0 at the weekend. But Atletico have still got the strongest squad in that group. They've still got the best manager in that group. They've got the most efficient style in that group, and they always turn up in Europe. How can you not say Atletico not win that group? Julio, Julio.
Don't give a very different opinion to Julio. Just so people don't think I am
But Celtic,
lying.
but I'm saying this like.
Hudson
I'm saying
Odoi! Oh, what a goal that is! What
Just
a
so-
goal!
Just so people don't think I'm lying. So this is the thing that Julio sent me. Like I'll actually show you. So that's his Twitter there. All right. So he sent me all of his predictions. As you see at the bottom, Lazio, Atletico, Feyenoord, Celtic. Like, I'm not taking it. That's literally what he said.
I'm just saying, and this is the thing. It doesn't matter if it's Ange Postecoglou or Brendan Rodgers. In this group, Celtic still finished bottom. It's not bias. It's not bias. It's the Scottish teams aren't good enough for the Champions League. They're good enough for the Europa League. That's generally at the moment when you look at investment in the squads overall for both Rangers and Celtic, even though both of them should be in the Champions League based on history alone. When you look at it and the atmospheres they draw, it's not enough for them in the Champions League because they aren't good enough to be in the Champions League. And I will continue to say this until things seriously change up here. Both teams are good enough to play the Champions League, to get into there, but they're not good enough to stay in the Champions League. Rangers aren't for a reason, because they were really poor in qualifying. Michael Beale, wanker. But when you look in general, but Celtic, but I am. It's not even bias; it's just pure fact. Lazio, despite that beautiful atmosphere at the Olimpico, are not finishing above Feyenoord. But Feyenoord are generally a very good side to watch, and I think a lot of people need to be careful on Feyenoord. People need to stop sleeping on them. So, like, that's all I'm saying. Athletic will want this group, but nah, I'm sorry, but nah.
Reece is having a word with Julio next week about this.
Nathan, if you think Julio's prediction is mental, wait till you hear mine.
If you say Celtic second, I'm flying to fucking Wales.
Reece
top.
Another good top, okay.
Feyenoord second. I think they're going to get through.
Celtic
third into the Europa League.
He's saying Lazio.
And then Lazio bottom.
Lazio will not finish in bottom.
Lazio
will finish in bottom. Genuinely, I think Celtic are going into the Europa League, if not finishing higher.
So you're saying a midfield of Luis Alberto and Nicolo Rovella with Ciro Mobley, even though he's a bit wasted anyway, who finally scored for the Italian national team, is finishing, and Mikel and Antonio as well in midfield. Another good midfielder. That's what you're telling me? They're finishing above Celtic. I don't even know what to say.
My prediction is
bold, but it's happening.
I got to respect it, buddy. I got to respect it. Wow.
My prediction is Feyenoord first, Atletico Madrid second, Lazio third, and Celtic fourth. I think Feyenoord are going to finish above Atletico. Because Reece, go back and look at Atletico Madrid's the last 4 seasons in the group stages. They have struggled big time. They've always got through in like the final 2 games. They're not good in the group stages recently. I think Feyenoord will actually beat them home and away. So yeah, just mark my words. I think Feyenoord will finish top.
Not only that as well. Have you seen the next group? I've got another bold prediction coming.
We're skipping that group. We're saving that for last because of how big it is. We're coming back to Group F. We're gonna do the other 2 groups first.
I cannot wait to dive into that group. I can't wait to dive into that group.
We're coming back to that group because of how mind picking it is. So moving on to Group C: Manchester City, Young Boys, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys. I'm going to say this straight up how it is. Man City, Leipzig, Young Boys, Red Star. That's what Julio also has. Any of these two disagree? Well, Reece, do you have Leipzig above Man City? Simple question.
No, but Leipzig will definitely finish second. Man City, Leipzig, Red Star, Young Boys.
What is it with Manchester City and Leipzig always facing each other in the Champions League? I feel like it happens every season, though.
If I knew the answer to that question, I would be very happy. That's 3 years in a row the City football group and the Red Bull football group have met in the group stage. I don't know how they are always paired together. If it's not in the group stage, it's in the knockout rounds. I don't get it. And
I'm seeing nothing different in the chat.
Yeah, it's the only difference in the chat so far is Maisie's got Young Boys for Red Star fourth, and then Doug's got the same as me the other way around, Red Star third, Young Boys fourth. I don't think Young Boys are that good.
I agree.
I think Red Star are just a mad hostile crowd.
Yeah.
And they've got some good players as well. Hostile as fuck. That's going to be some riot for some players. Like that'll be good. Man City versus Leipzig, both games will be genuinely really good football. Like genuinely some good football there. Some of them will be high scoring.
Yes, at least Jesse March isn't in charge because Jesse March was absolutely destroyed by City every time.
No. If Jesse Marsh was in charge, he'd be drop kicked out the fucking stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, so no issues with Group G. Group H is Barcelona, Porto, Antwerp, and Shakhtar.
Yeah.
I've got that group finishing high. I've said that. I've Barcelona top 4 second and top 4 and Shakhtar top 4th.
I got a bold prediction.
And
I was tempted. They do play at the Wankdorf Stadium. That is very true. That is still the funniest stadium name of all time. It's even worse than what it translates to. Like that's a sad thing. That's what it translates to is criminal. Like it's criminal. Like they've done this entire like the way it's been done horribly, considering what it translates to. It's so fucking funny. The funny thing is, right, is Shakhtar looked so much better when they got rid of James Bond. Except this is James Bond from Skyfall, because this is the point where Mudryk does not know how to score. He's lost his license to kill. He's lost his license to actually fire a fucking target. I think it's going to be very close between Antwerp and Shakhtar for the third position. Like that, I think I haven't watched Antwerp in so long. I'm just used to Shakhtar. That's why I think Shakhtar will finish third, Antwerp fourth. But Barcelona, constant madness. They've just been told their wage bill again is now being dropped again. So money-wise, it's fucking funny. But squad-wise, there is now no excuse for Barcelona to actually win a group and actually get out of it this time. The past couple of years, they have genuinely struggled. Funnily enough, when Benfica was in their group, it was just so funny watching Benfica finish above them twice. I'm not sure how this one will... I don't know how this one will go. I was tempted to put Porto first, but I just think this time quality will prevail. So I've got Barcelona, and my group predictions are the exact same as Maisie's. Barca, Porto, Shakhtar, Royal Antwerp. Or in her case, Royal Torp.
Any difference to your Stevenson?
I'm going to go a bit more bold here. I'm going to go for Porto to finish top. Now,
that's true. That's what it translates to.
Absolutely. I mean, reason being for Porto, very good in pre-season when I saw him play against us. Rotated well, had the depth there. Was very impressed. But Barcelona, while they do have a great squad, Lewandowski, Gavi, Pedri, De Jong, everyone knows quality in there. However,
comfortable centre back as well. Yeah, it's Barca though. I don't know.
Have you seen where they're going to be playing their home games?
Who, Barcelona?
Yes.
I haven't. No, where are they playing?
They're playing at that absolute dump of the Olympic Stadium. That's why they're going in second.
Oh, see, I didn't know that now.
Have you ever been there?
See, I didn't know that. Fuck, my predictions are fucked now. Shit. See,
that's my reasoning for it. Anyway, Shakhtar finishing third, and then Royal Antwerp are finishing fourth.
Right, I'm concerned. I want to make a quick change. I might put Porto top. They're generally playing at that Olympic Stadium. Oh fucking Christ!
Yeah, let me show you the photo because they have tried their best with it.
What's the capacity for this ground? Because
looking at it's about, well, from when I've been there, it's about 50k.
Yeah, they're fucked because they need the full 90-odd thousand or 90 to 100k to even get some of those players to turn up. I think out the three Portuguese teams, sorry, my bad. The 4 Portuguese teams in Europe, I think the best position one's probably Porto, and that's coming from obviously I do prefer Benfica out of the 4. I think Porto are better positioned. There is one we've yet to mention yet, and we'll be coming to them very soon. That I actually do think will have a very good campaign. I think they will have a very good European campaign. And we'll be coming to them very soon. I look forward to that.
Yeah, so if I could go on, sorry.
No, on you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I have a screen share, Josh? I just want to show you how little effort they put into it.
Let's see. And you say I'm being biased, Maisie. You say I'm being biased. Oh, is that meant to be the Olympic Stadium or the new Nou Camp?
Well, they tried their best on it, but
it's never going to, why would you make it instantly look like the Nou Camp? I mean, I know it's supposed, but that's just so bad.
Why aren't they playing? I didn't Nou Camp. What am I missing here? I've not actually...
The new camp is that general shape. Anyway, it's like that, but this is just embarrassing. Like that,
why aren't they playing at the company anyway? Why are
It's
they
basically
playing?
rubble.
Because Spotify haven't put money in to rebuild it. I've always wanted to use that.
But yeah, it's actually mental.
All right, and then moving on to the absolute group of death, Group H, Group F.
Technically, if you think about it, it's actually the group of, when you think about it, deep dive it properly, it's the group of Milan.
So here is Julio's predictions for Group F. Number 1, he has Paris Saint-Germain, obviously under Luis Enrique this year. In second, he has AC Milan. In third, he has Newcastle, and in fourth, he has Borussia Dortmund. He says second to fourth will be close points wise. If not, might not be too far ahead. This could be a three-way 7-point group between the three teams. So PSG, AC Milan, Newcastle, and Borussia Dortmund.
Right, I'm taking this one, and I would just like to say, Julio, on behalf of the World of Football podcast, and we thank you for your services to the podcast, but you're officially terminated for that awful prediction. You are officially terminated for having Newcastle in third. Nah, your opinions are your own, mate. Completely understandable. Me, I have complete bias. I have Milan finishing top, PSG second, Dortmund third, Newcastle fourth. The reason, like I said at the start of the season, boys, when we done the predictions, I do not give a fuck who Man City get in the Champions League because it's expected they're going to get an easy group. But the way a vast majority of the Newcastle online fan base has been acting since that takeover, the minute they got into the Champions League, I was genuinely happy that they were going to get the hardest group. I wanted them to get either this group or I wanted them to get stuck with Real Madrid. And honest to God, I cannot wait for the humbling they get. They fucking deserve it. Not even just like a little bit. They fucking deserve it. And I just can't wait. Especially, like, I'm laughing at the so, like, it's just their attitude. Like, we talk about entitled fan bases all the time. They've become worse than any. It's horrible. I know, like, since it's for years, but the takeover is worse, Maisie. You know what I mean? Like, but Doug, jeez. Nah.
Yeah, Reese, if you said thank you for your services, Chile, you have to say the same to Doug.
Yeah, Doug, we do thank you for your services, sir. I'm only kidding. Nah, I think PSG's biggest problem though is they're still not playing to what Enrique wants. So I don't know how far they're going to get because they've got a good side. Still to this day, haven't a clue. Dortmund are shocking, but the thing is though is Dortmund are better than Newcastle. Like that's the thing. I don't like Newcastle or like Man United are one of the worst teams in the top 6 right now based on style. But Newcastle are fucking god awful. When they have been since the start of the season, I don't rate them. I generally don't. Oh, hang on. What? Please tell me this is an absolute joke of a troll tweet. Newcastle have broken UEFA rules after their plane took off 2 hours and 20 minutes late from Newcastle for their flight to Milan.
That is true.
So that is genuinely true. Well, man, they are fucking mental. They are genuinely mental. I think Milan. I think Newcastle are going to lose every single Champions League away game as well. I think they'll lose every away game.
I would say the same. They're going to the San Siro, the Dortmund's ground and PSG's ground like that. That is generally awful for your first time in the Champions League in however many years. They're probably the 3 of the worst grounds you could pick to go to.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Like those places are going to be absolutely bouncing. Nathan, what's your prediction for this group?
So my prediction is probably going to be the definition of insanity.
God, here we go.
I think I'm going to shock a lot of people.
You better be very careful.
Milan top. Dortmund second. Newcastle third. PSG fourth.
Right. I'll just I'll just do that. Yeah, guys, that never you didn't hear that prediction, okay? Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. PSG. Let's bring it back here. PSG fourth.
Yes.
Nah, that's not happening. Come on, Nathan. You've got more common sense.
I am calling it now.
No,
PSG are finishing
no,
bottom of that group.
no,
It is a mentality
no,
issue. Milan are going to
no,
beat them.
no.
Dortmund, I think, are going to get a shot
No.
point at Signal Iduna Park. Newcastle, I can see him getting a draw out of them at home at St James's Park. I genuinely think that they are finishing bottom.
No, not under Luis Enrique. Not
I
under.
agree. I think
Luis,
they will.
Luis Enrique is too good of a coach for that to happen. That's not happening. Reece, say something.
I'm genuinely gobsmacked. I mean, I don't think Newcastle. Sorry, not that. Even Maisie's reaction is fucking like that emoji that just comes up.
Thank you with your joke.
Oh,
Love
Jesus
it.
Christ. My thing is though, like I will say this is, I don't think PSG have been playing good football. I don't think they have, but the squad, like, the quality of that squad is still there. If they were to finish fourth, that would be fucking incredible. Like, it would be incredible in that sense, but I just think when you look, I don't think it will, but if it did, that is some brilliant foreshadowing. But it's just a genuine level of squad. I do think they will be fine, but they're still. We've already seen as well, like Enrique's coming out with Donnarumma as well. Saying about like the style of play is not the right goalkeeper for him, so that's going to be a major change coming soon as well. Which I'll be surprised if PSG allow it as well, even though like he is their manager, like we've seen before, they'll override decisions. It'd be very interesting. But this group, I mean, I say it in the nicest way. This group is literally the group of Milan. Donnarumma versus Mike Maignan. You've got, to be fair, Leao at times as well. You've got Pulisic versus Dortmund, and you've got Tonali versus Milan. Like there's generally so many links in this group. Like this is literally the Milan's group. If they didn't win, it'd be mental. I think you'll see them actually show more in the Champions League than they will in the league, but they have to do it in both. They can't do it in just pick and choose.
So before we shut down the stream, we're going to very quickly do some Europa League and Conference League group stages. This is only
We'll fire through them.
These are only based off like the teams that we actually know and Ranger. So with West Ham's group 5, they've got Freiburg, Olympiacos, Bacca, Tulupa, and West Ham. West Ham for me are going to finish top. Freiburg second, Olympiacos third, and Tulupa fourth. Are you all in agreement with that, or do we think Olympiacos will finish second over Freiburg?
I think it's a bit of a surprise. I'm going to go Freiburg top in the group. West Ham, I think, will end up finishing second. Olympiacos third, and then Bacca Topola finishing fourth.
I'll go Olympiacos top, Freiburg second. Nah, I'm only kidding. Olympiacos, West Ham, Freiburg, and Bacca Topola, or whatever they're called.
Bit of a difficult group for Brighton in their first European campaign. AFC, Atkins, Ajax, Brighton, and Marseille. I think Ajax are going to finish top. Though I'm not. Although I really, really do not rate. What's his name? The Ajax manager is Frank Spost or something like that. I can't remember his name, but whatever you call him, I don't rate him. I think he's an awful coach. Brighton will finish second. Marseille will finish third, and the Atkins will finish fourth. Are we in disagreement? So will the Serbi pull off a masterclass and finish above Ajax?
My prediction might shock you. So I have Brighton to win the group. I have Scum to finish second, Ajax to finish third, and then whatever's last is fourth. So that's AEK Athens.
AEK Athens, yeah.
Yep, so yeah. Brighton, Scum. So it's Brighton, then the Scum, then Ajax, then AEK Athens.
Marseille, okay, fair enough.
Oh, I
Reece, what's yours?
will
No,
never
Reece.
I will never
Nathan?
fucking like Marseille scumbags.
So
What's your-
I was at Ajax's ground 2 weeks ago. They're on fault for leaving their tactics up on the board in their dressing room. If anyone wants the photos, I will happily send it to you. So in that instance, I am going to go Ajax top with Brighton finishing in second, AEK Athens finishing third, and then the absolute capitulation that can be described as Marseille finishing fourth.
The absolute humour, though, that it's like they got rid of Alexis Sanchez, who had an amazing season, and replaced him with Aubameyang.
Correct.
Um,
Absolutely shocking.
I feel bad for Alexis Sanchez in that way because he was genuinely one of the best players in League One last year.
Group number C, Aris Limesol. How do you say the name? So I don't know how to say it.
Aris Limassol.
Yeah, Limassol, yeah.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them live, to be honest. Rangers, Real Betis, and Sparta Prague. This is a difficult group for Rangers, Reese. Well, Rangers get free. Though obviously, I suppose that will depend. You're going to say depends on if Michael Blade is in charge of this whole group or not.
So just to make Reese happy, you've gone Real Betis top, Sparta Prague second, Aris Limassol third, and then Rangers fourth. You must be
So
joking.
Rangers to miss out on the Conference League then?
Nah, I am only joking. There's no way that's happening. Real Betis top, Rangers second, Sparta Prague. Actually, no, Sparta Prague second, Rangers third, Limassol fourth.
Rangers
No way
into the
with
Conference
Michael
League
Beale
then?
in charge.
Well, I'll be Rangers into the Conference League then. Reese, what do you think?
I've got Betis, Rangers, Prague, Limassol, but Rangers I'm not overly confident with. I think it'll just be because they'll take the points off Prague. Betis will beat them home and away anyway, easily.
And then the last group we'll predict for the Champions League, so for the Europa League, is Liverpool's group, which is LSAK, Liverpool, Toulouse, and Union Saint Gilliside. So I think Liverpool will go finish top quite comfortably. Then I'm going to go Lask in second, and then Toulouse in third, and then Union in the bottom.
Don't sleep on Union Saint Gilloise. They're a good side.
Yeah. I'm going to go Liverpool top, Union Saint-Gilloise second, Toulouse third, and then Lask bottom.
I've got the same group. I want to know I want to do the sporting group as well.
I mean, Doug's got a good point. It's Liverpool's group to lose, you know?
Doug, for flip's
He's
sake.
got a very good point.
Swear to God, Doug.
I swear to God, if we're not getting caned, we're going to get smacked with the Toblerones. God almighty, Doug. I want to do sports group as well, just for spite.
Go ahead and do it.
Why? I need you to tell me what the group is first.
So it's Atalanta, Sporting Lisbon, Sturm Graz, and was that Rakov Czechoslovakia.
Ooh, right, Sporting fourth. Right, let's see. So Sporting, Atalanta, Stormsgat, and some random fucker. Yeah.
Are they from the Polish league? Let's have a look. Where on earth are they from? Oh yeah, they're from Poland.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put Sporting top, Atalanta, Stormsgat, and then that the Polish side. I've got no fucking clue. I've never watched them play.
Well, thank you very much, matey. Thank you for winding weeks up as always.
She never fails, all right. She's got a fucking superpower.
And then our final group before we wrap it up for the night is Aston Villa's European Conference League group, which is AC Alkmaar, Aston Villa, Legia Warsaw, and Senskai Mosina, whatever the fuck they are.
All I'm gonna say is I absolutely hope Villa tear Legia Warsaw apart.
That team from a ball.
I hope they rip. I think Villa to win the group with maximum points. The end. Doesn't matter where anyone else comes. Just Villa win the group. 18 from 18.
How do you think Aberdeen will do in their group with Frankfurt, Helsinki, and PAOK?
It's a horrible group. It's a horrible group for Aberdeen. They're finishing bottom, unfortunately. It's a horrible group. Like that's a group they didn't want. That's the group of death. I feel bad for them. They're
Yeah,
they're
like
gonna
Track Frankfurt finishing top,
Pauk
Pauk
second,
seconds, HJK third.
Aberdeen fourth. But it's
And
going to
then
be really close. It'll be close with Helsinki and Pauk, though. It'll be close, but Pauk will finish above them.
I agree. My Group E, difficult. Villa are definitely winning, top by a mile. AZ Alkmaar second, Liga Warsaw third, and then Drinsky fourth.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, on the 1 hour 50 mark, that rounds up the World of Football podcast. It's been a very good podcast. We've had Manchester United, depression. We've had South Wales, Derby, Lovin. We've had Reese, depression on the Milan Derby. Reese, it was really not a good weekend of football for yourself.
It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weekends in a row. I've had a horrible weekend.
And then that was our Champions League predictions rounded up. So obviously, just to very quickly, no, we're not going to predict these games. Unfortunately, we have time, but just to very quickly. So obviously, as everyone knows, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is European football. Lots of very exciting games. Tomorrow's early kickoff is a game which Reece will watch. We will be watching with a further intrigue there, which is AC Milan and Newcastle at a quarter to kickoff, followed by Young Boys and Leipzig. So Reece, very quickly, those two games between AC Milan and Newcastle and Young Boys and Leipzig both seem kickoff time. Which one are you going to be watching more closely?
I'll definitely be watching Milan Newcastle more closely. Definitely.
And then obviously on Wednesday we have Bayern Munich hosting Manchester United, which might be a bit of an ugly scoreline. Arsenal and PSV, which should be a decent wee game. So and obviously one of the best things about this, can I just say while I can, is I get to sit back and enjoy all of this without having to worry about Chelsea because we didn't make it into the Champions League or any European football. And also we have to give a shout out to Cardiff City as they host Coventry City. Very quick scoreline, Nathan, for your after the South Wales Derby film, confident about beating Coventry?
That's a tough game. They're bringing down about 2,000 fans as well. We're going to be well up for it. I'm going to probably go 1-1. We're going to go into it with a lot of confidence and we're going to start to push up the table now, I reckon. But that's a good prediction.
0-0. That's
a very good prediction.
I'm sticking with 0-0.
And then after the European football, we're going to an action-packed weekend of Premier League football where, for some stupid reason, Burnley and Manchester United are at 8 o'clock kickoff on Saturday, which is really weird. I don't really like that, but...
Who's Man United playing at 8 o'clock?
Burnley away.
I mean, that's not bad for an 8 p.m.
Yeah, because I can go to bed straight after.
And then on the Tuesday we have the North London derby between Arsenal and Spurs, which honestly makes up to be an incredible game of football. And somehow Sheffield United are on TV again. I don't know why they're on TV again, but anyway, everybody, thank you very so much for watching the World of Football podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy. There's so much football between now and next week. Premier League and European football, so the football keeps intensifying, it keeps on growing, and I'm sure next week there's going to be a lot more talking points because I'm sure if Newcastle go to the San Siro here tomorrow night and beat AC Milan, we will have a lot of words for AC Milan, regardless of what their Serie A result is at the weekend. So keep an eye, and then also there's a possibility that Cardiff lose back-to-back games and we get a rant on Nathan again. So those could happen. Everyone, thank you so much for watching the World of Football podcast. Please check out Reese's YouTube channel for any wrestling content, and also check out Nathan's channel for all his vlogs. So if you don't see this one,
make sure to watch the South Wales Derby one, the most phenomenal vlog I've ever made. The scene's ridiculous.
So everyone, thank you so much for watching the World Football Podcast. We will see you next Monday night. Me, Reese, Nathan, Julio back on your screens. Same place to talk about all Champions League, Premier League, and Championship reviews. So everyone, take care. Goodbye for now, and have a good week.